Heffernan here is a professor of computer science at Worcester Polytechnic Institute and the director of the Learning Sciences and Technologies PhD program. And Neil co-created ASSISTments with his wife Cristina, who's also here. Cristina uses her background as a middle school teacher in math to manage the ASSISTments project, also at WPI. She trains and supports teachers, as well as facilitates research and supports the design of new features. And we also have Tammy Schrader here. Tammy's going to be providing feedback to Neil and Cristina and basically reflections on the field as well. Tammy's a regional computer science coordinator for Washington State's ESD 101. She works with 59 school districts throughout the state of Washington. Previously, Tammy was a science teacher, an adjunct professor, and she's actively involved in the Computer Science for All initiative here at the White House. So thanks for the time. I'm handing off to some of the great researchers and developers out of the IES programs. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ed. I'm going to try to talk to you about actually a formative assessment system. I'm going to steal a line from actually Jeremy Rochelle. Imagine your coach actually told you, hey, go actually practice actually shooting some baskets. Okay? And he says actually, but we're not going to let you see which ones go in. Okay? And in fact, actually, I'll give you feedback next week. I'll give you feedback tomorrow morning in math class on which ones you got right or wrong. Right? You think that's funny, right? That's crazy. Right? That's what we do every night, actually, with 3.5 million seventh graders. I really care about those seventh graders.
So we've built a system called ASSISTments. It assists while it also gives assessment data. And it's a free public service of our university, Worcester Polytechnic Institute.
I'd like to thank our funders actually helping us scale.
So the big idea with ASSISTments is the teacher. So the teacher comes first. The teacher's the one giving the assignments. This is Aaron Broadhurst. He's got his report from the assignment that he assigned the night before. He uses that to have discussion with his students. This is that formative assessment. I understand what we're talking about all day. And then there's the students, and they also get feedback. They get correctness feedback, they get hints as they're working. But I put the teacher first in these two slides because it's really about the teacher, the students being able to loop back around to the teacher. And those reports that the teacher give important things like common wrong answers, and those are just little nuggets of conversation starters that are really important parts of those formative assessments that you just can't get without the technology. So we ask ourselves, does this work? And we can just say it works, but we can also look for evidence. So here's Neil talking to Jeremy Rochelle, and he's looking at one of his favorite books, Show Me the Evidence, here at Congress. And he's really after the evidence on why these things work. And there were only 11, there's a quote in the book by John Barron, there was only 11 positive results out of those 90 interventions. And this is really important to recognize. We have good ideas, we need to test them, we need to have evidence that shows, randomized controlled trials that show that these things work.
So, and I guess in addition to that book, actually, Sternberger and Cooper actually did an analysis of 26 actually studies in math and in what are called intelligent tutoring systems to see, okay, what's the overall performance? To quote from there, the effects of these intelligent tutoring systems are small to modest, and they might actually contribute to the achievement gap. That is actually lower knowledge kids actually do worse. Now the one we're exploring now actually in mathematics has 3 reliably positive interventions. And we as a nation, we don't really know how to actually do this for everyone.
So we built ASSISTments, but then in 2009 we found out that Maine had adopted laptops for every 7th and 8th grade student in the whole state. This allowed us to come up with an idea to run a randomized controlled trial for homework. And so this randomized controlled trial, Neil got really, really excited. He starts going and reaching out to the people in Maine and trying to recruit teachers and schools and say, we want to try to test this system. We want to find out if it really works. And we have to do it in a randomized controlled way. And so we recruited 44 schools in the state of Maine, and every 7th grade teacher in the school participated in the study.
Talking actually 44 schools into actually random assignment is not easy. And talk to me about that after. Whenever we had all these schools lined up, actually, and then we actually needed to ask IES for some money, we needed a great outside objective firm. SRI actually signed up to actually run the study. And they took our 44 schools, paired them actually to be similar demographics, and then actually assigned them into the business as usual condition of existing methods or getting assistance.
So in the assistance group, what's really interesting is that we still let the teachers use their textbooks. We didn't have, for our professional development ideas, when we were sitting around the kitchen trying to design this study, we knew we had to get these teachers to change what they were going to do for their practice, but we didn't want them to have to change all the content they were also going to assign. So we let them use their textbooks. We put a reference to the textbook in assessments. The students put their answers in, they got that immediate feedback at night, and then the teachers would get the feedback in form of a report that they could use for those conversations about homework. The next year, we added one more thing. Because with teachers, you do one thing, and then you wait a while, let them get used to it, and then you add another thing. We added our skill builders. We have about 300 skill builders that practice things like just multiplication, so that kids can get mastery on those skills.
So drum roll, please. Okay, 4 years actually go by, and then actually just last October, actually a month or two ago, Jeremy Rochelle was presenting actually down in the Indian Treaty Room down the hall on the findings. What is the finding? Ming Yu Fang, raise your hand. So she's one of the authors actually from SRI. And what are the findings?
So there were three main findings. The first one was that teachers actually changed their practice. They went over homework differently than they would normally have done, that boring way that you can maybe think about and remember.
Finding two is actually we reliably actually increased student learning, almost doubling student learning on a standardized test. Finding three is actually contrary to Sternberger and who we closed achievement gaps, not actually exacerbated them. We're happy about that. Why does that happen? So it's because we're not actually one of these ed tech guys that says, you know what, since the computer could actually just proceed through the whole year, let's let them do that, okay? And so no, we want actually teachers actually making individual decisions on a daily basis. The New York Times actually got the whole story wrong when they did a whole story on me.
The story was right.
Well, the story was great, we were right, but the editors actually got the title wrong, okay? The computers aren't taking over, okay? It's actually about making sure teachers are in charge. So last slide actually is where are we going? So we've actually built a free thing, and we're giving it away for free. And you might ask, why do we give it away for free? Well, in 1997, I was actually a seizure, and I was diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor. And I was told I had 2 to 3 years to live. And after doing chemo and radiation and actually some resection, and gave me a great haircut, and luckily I was able to survive that, and I'm a cancer survivor. But my wife and I decided we got to do something different. We got to be like Jimmy Wales, who actually created Wikipedia and actually gives away as an open educational resource encyclopedia entries. We right now are taking actually content from teachers, like this guy, Crystal Siege is one of the teachers I met in the state of Maine, and he actually wrote feedback messages for every question in his textbook. Okay, that's I wasn't actually at the time prepared to actually connect those actually feedback to other teachers that are using the same book, but that's the direction we're going. In fact, actually, I wanted to demo right here the crowdsourcing actually element of letting teachers actually give feedback from kids to other kids.
Yeah, but I didn't let them demo it because I'm like, we have to have someone try something at least about 1,000 times before we're going to demo it at the White House. But
Come downstairs to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.